Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Anna Espinosa.
And I'm Hakeem Dixon. Today is Friday, September 22nd, 2017. As Florida continues to pick up the pieces from Hurricane Irma, Puerto Rico is now dealing with the devastation caused by Hurricane Maria. Residents on the island have no power and there's flooding in many areas. I found out what the Orlando community is doing to help the victims of the storm. With hurricane-force winds of up to 150 miles per hour, Hurricane Maria struck terror into the hearts of many Puerto Ricans. Streets flooded, buildings collapsed, and communication to and from the island is scarce. University of Puerto Rico student Kareni Escobar is one of few lucky enough to contact her parents, but hasn't heard from other family members.
The damages compared to other hurricanes, this has been, the worst. It's been devastating, and it's gonna take a while to get everything up and running.
CASA, an Orlando organization, helps support communities in cases of natural disaster, jump to help those affected on the island.
Hi guys. Okay, a scenario for you to contemplate. Imagine if you were in a mad hurricane and everything blew away and you were all right, you found yourself, you're living at the end of it and you're wondering what the hell to do next. Okay, so here's what I would do. First, I would go.
This video is a compilation of the shorter videos that were put together by an amazing individual named Tom Salas, who had also taken the Kesh Foundation classes. And videos were done done live in his home in the area of Dominica, using the plasma technology before and just after the hurricane. It's a beautiful demonstration of how simple materials can be scrapped for and obtained and put together to make this extremely useful plasma, and what some of its potential uses and benefits might be.
So I'm trying to give you an idea of where the edges are to what we might be looking at for some kind of a protective dome for that the plasma has given us. So what I'm doing here is I've started in front of the house and I'm walking down the track. And you can see there's the flowers. Everything's all right. A little bit tangly, but it's all right. We got flowers, and there's the bottom of the track. And that's the kind of state of things. So you can see there is a difference. Is it the plasma? We just don't know, but I suspect yes. Sure, it's a different vibration. And I'll go and stand right in the center in front of the house. Say hi. Looks right in front of the house. There's our beautiful mountains that were once green and then now brown. Right, here's the little shed that's intact. And over the top there is my little house shack that got blown down. And kind of over there is the other shack that got blown down. So we feel that there was like a ring of, let's call it a ring of oasis around the house of a couple of 100 feet. And then there was an edge to that ring where things started to get a bit more vulnerable. We don't know if that's the case or not, but have a look for yourself. It's certainly a nicer vibe up here than it is down at the bottom of the track. So here's the little bed that I was telling Carolina about. We've got pineapple, chardon bene, that's mulberry, that's moringa, what's that, Chinese cabbage, that's aubergine, spinach, is. Basilic, looking good. Pineapple on the way. And somewhere in there, look, you can see there's a jar of plasma. Perhaps that helped that bed to stay intact through the hurricane. We don't know for sure, but maybe. Hi guys. Okay, a scenario for you to contemplate. Imagine if you were in a mad hurricane and everything blew away and you were all right, you found yourself, you're living at the end of it and you're wondering what the hell to do next. Okay, so here's what I would do. First, I would go to my little cherry tree if it was still standing, and I would find a cherry and give myself some vitamin C. Next thing I would do is I would walk over to my house that perhaps had blown away, and I would start to salvage what I can to make plasma. So, first thing I'm going to do is find some wood, because I'm going to make a fire. Wood is not a problem. We have plenty of wood. Next thing I'm going to do is have a look what I can find. So, for example, okay, there's a box of old cables from my music stuff. Tons of copper inside there. We can get our wire for copper. We're looking for a couple of things. Copper, rusted iron, something galvanized, which is zinc, salt if we've got salt. If we haven't, we can go down to the sea. It might be a bit of a walk because we're going to be climbing over trees and debris, but we can get to the sea if we need salt. And a couple of containers. We'll make a fire and we're good to go. We can make our own little survival kit there that we can feed ourselves, take away pain, get the plants growing again, and a bunch of cool stuff. Just using elements we've got kicking around after our house has blown down. All right, so first thing I can see is that fella there. That is a piece of chicken wire, and it's gone rusty. That's perfect. That's going to give us a plasma of iron. CH3. If there's a bit that hasn't rusted anywhere, it's going to be galvanized, and that's going to have zinc on it. We're going to use that bit for, there we go. An unrusted piece of galvanized. Oh God, where have I put the other piece now? Oh, there it is. Okay. So we've got some copper in our cables. Oh, even better, there's an old extension lead. We'll take the copper out of there. We've got our iron. We've got our zinc. We've got our copper in our extension. Oh, even better, look at that. That's copper. Coppers are very easy to bend, soft, bronzy, coppery coloured metal. So I'll clean that up. We're going to clean that up with a bit of lime and salt. The next thing we want is a container, a couple of containers. I mean, worst case scenario, you could even use an old cup. We'll take that anyway and make a cup of tea when we have a fire. So, believe it or not, with that pile of stuff there, we can make what plasma we need to keep ourselves and Mammy and Granny and whoever else alive, fed and in a good state of health through what might be some mad scenario like your house blowing down. Okay, let's see what we can do. Bye. All right, I'm going to do my best to show you how we can nano coat a little piece of copper like this in the fire. I'm just going to pop it on there. Don't know if you can see this or not, but I've just dropped my piece of copper into the fire. And you're going to see it slowly change colour. I've made loads of videos before now showing this. But here we are, doing it in a real life disaster scenario. We're nano coating our copper in the fire. You'll see it changing colour slowly. Layers are building up. Some people will say that that has not been correctly nano-coated and it's not right and it won't work and all the rest. Sorry, but when you're in this kind of scenario, this is what you've got. So this is how you do it, and I'm going to show you. It does work. You do make plasma. The plasma works, and it's good to know. So that to me is something like ready to roll. It's as simple as that. You've just put a few little layers on there that are making it slightly more conductive than it was. As a normal piece of copper, you're going to join that together to another piece of metal, sit it in salt water, and you have made a plasma reactor. Simple as that. Too simple for some. Okay, we're here by the fireside. I've gathered together a few bits and pieces. An old tray, a dominoes tray. Never did like dominoes. It's a weird game. An old piece of copper. An old piece of chicken wire, gone rusty. another piece of chicken wire that hasn't gone rusty, an old extension lead that we've ripped out the wire. I'm not going to show you how to do that, you'll work that out. Old bottles. So now we're putting together our plasma reactors. I'm going to try and do this as fast as possible so it doesn't take a lot of time on the video. So let's start with this one. That's a piece of iron that has been galvanized. That means it's got zinc on the outside of it. That means if we make a little reactor with that, we're going to make a zinc and CO2 combination. So all we do, chop 5-6 inches of wire, let's say 5 inches, 2 pieces, like that. One of the pieces, wrap it around your piece of galvanized chicken wire, like this. All I'm doing is just getting a nice tight connection. Voila. If you've got a pair of pliers, tighten it up as much as you can. Brought my pliers with me. I'm a good camper. So that's a nice tight connection. Now, we've already nano coated our little bits of copper in the fire. We want to avoid handling it as much as possible, or handle it around the edges so that you're not disturbing the nano layers that we've created. You're going to do the same thing, just put your piece of copper through the hole. I made the hole a little bit small there. Let me just open that up with an old nail. So you can see we've got a hole in our piece of copper. We're going to do the same thing, trying to avoid handling it, like I said, but just wrap your copper wire around it. Close it up. As tight a connection as you can, the better. There you go. Now we join the 2 pieces together at the top by just twisting those 2 pieces together. Lovely. Now you've got your 2 pieces joined together. You've got a container. It's just a plastic bottle cut off to about 5 inches. You're going to sit the 2 into the container like that. Voila. That is a plasma reactor. Now the only component we're missing is salt water. If you haven't got salt water, just go and get some seawater. It will work. It's not perfect, but it will work. Plasma reactor. 1 piece of copper that I've thrown in the fire, 1 piece of chicken wire that's zinc coated, joined them together with 2 pieces of copper and sat it in salt water. Now all we do is just leave that for a couple of days, and we're going to have a nice little plasma of zinc, which is the coating on the chicken wire. It's going to miraculously pull down some CO2 out of the environment for us also, which is great. And then we have our plasma. The next one we're going to make using a domino tray. You have your old piece of rusty chicken wire. We add our piece of copper. which the fancy word for it is electrode. We join it together, we get a nice tight connection. Now we take another piece of nano-coated copper, join that together, same thing, just whack a hole in it. And twist it. And join the two together. This is going to make us what we call CH3, which essentially is iron, which is being provided by the rusty part of that chicken wire, and that iron can be an energy source, food. So now all we do, pop them in our dominoes tray, like that. Add salt water. Plasma reactor. Nano-coated copper and a piece of rusty iron on the other side. That's going to make us CH3. I'm running out of video time, but I'll do it quickly. The next one to make, there's a normal piece of copper with a hole in it. There's your nano-coated copper. Join them together in the same style with two pieces of copper. Put them in salt water, and that's going to make you what we call CuO, which is a plasma of copper. So the plasma of copper is very good for our physicality. We'll respond well to the red meat parts of our body, good for muscles and injuries. The CH3 is an energy provider. It's very good. We can almost use that as like a food source. The CO2 zinc oxide is very good for our emotional support. You can use it as a pain reliever also. Pretty much all plasma will relieve pain, but that's going to provide emotional support, as well as it will respond to our nervous system, and it's a bit of a brainer. So we've got the three there: the physicality, the emotionality, and the energy. The energy also correlates to a soul connection, and that soul connection equals mind, body, soul. We covered the three there, and if you have those three plasmas, you can do a lot with them, and it's as simple as that. That's all we need to show you for now. Thanks a lot. Bye. Yo, okay, that was our lovely garden. Here we are inside our super adobe home, which is very strong, very resistant. Very nice place to live, especially through disaster. And what I have here are my 3 plasma reactors, which I set up the other day, just with whatever bits and pieces I could salvage out of my little shack that got blown down. Here you can see it has a little bluish tinge to it. That's our copper. Here you can see it's got a little whitish colour to it. That is our zinc. And this one It's a bit tricky to see, but it's kind of a orangish colour, and that is our iron. And we can use those three elements now to do many different things and to serve us and help us as we move through our disaster scenario, in which there is disease, hunger, dirty water, crops that are failing, soil with no nutrition, and all the rest. So what I'm showing you there is that just with the couple of bits and pieces from the garden, or from my little shack that blew down, we've created 3 plasma reactors that have created us plasma. We did nothing more than throw these pieces of copper plate into the fire. We let them build up some layers of carbon. We've connected them to another metal. In this case, it's a piece of copper. In this case, it's a piece of galvanized chicken wire. And in this case, it's a rusted piece of chicken wire. And each one is helping us to create a supply of that element, which we can then create more of using that mother that we've just created. It's a process. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean out the salt water. We used seawater there because it's what we had. I'm going to clean out that seawater, and let's see the little bit of plasma that we've made after 2, maybe 3 days. I don't know. Time has dissolved out here, and I don't even know how many days have passed, but basically what I'm showing to you is that with those couple of bits and pieces, we have created plasma, and that plasma can now be a tool for us, which we can use for our benefit and the benefit of granny, auntie, uncle, daughter, brother, whoever else is in need. All right, thanks a lot. Bye. So what I'm going to do now is just decant the substance of each of these little reactors into a glass bottle so you can see what we've produced. I would normally take time to take off the little oily layer that is on the surface of these, which is a bit tricky to see in this light. I don't know if you can see it, but that little oily layer is what we know as amino acids, and they have a couple of little functions too within what we know about plasma, but I'm not going to go into it right now because it's not totally relevant to what we're doing at this point in time. So I'm going to ignore that for now and just take out the plates. It was a nano-coated copper plate, next to a rusted chicken wire, and that's given us this. As you can see, it's a beautiful orange colour. That is CH3, and the majority of what we're looking at there is iron. This one was a nano-coated copper plate next to a piece of galvanized chicken wire. So the reaction that we've created is with the first layer of that chicken wire, which is zinc. That's the galvanized. On this piece, the zinc had worn away and it had started to rust, so we came in contact with the iron. That's why it produced an iron for us. This one is producing zinc because the zinc coating is still intact. So what we will have here, I hope, is a white substance. This one is a plasma of copper. We have put an unnano-coated piece of copper next attached to a nano-coated piece of copper that we just threw in the fire, built up the carbon layers, That's produced as a plasma of copper. This one usually takes much longer to produce. I don't know why. As you can see there, it has that nice greenish bluish tint to it, and I'm quite happy with a couple of days production there. Zero boost, that means we haven't given it any charge in between these two electrodes. We've just done it the very simple way. Plasma technology can get very complicated if you want it to, but in its essence is very simple. And so there you can see the three plasmas we've created: iron, zinc, and copper. I've also, while I'm here, made a plasma using a different technique out of seawater, and that is a really good fertilizer for the garden. I don't advise using seawater in health applications, particularly unless you know, which is very difficult, that your seawater is super clean. I've tried to collect the seawater here from a as clean as possible area, with as few houses in the area as possible, but that I'm happy to use on my garden. And I've just done a workshop in which I've showed the farmers how to produce, well, those ones too, but we made this one in a moment. And everybody was able to take away their plasma and feel what it is, understand what it is that we've created and what we can do with it, some of the applications of it. And once you get to know a little bit about this stuff, inevitably you want to know more, because it's true sustainability what we're doing here. So in just 2 or 3 days, with a pile of junk that I found blowing around after my house had blown down, we have what can supply us energy, what can remove pain, what can clean, and all of those will help us through what might be some kind of a tight scenario after a disaster. That's what I'm here doing, that's what I'm here sharing with folks. Also sharing them a little bit how to create your nice environment that will still have a roof after a hurricane. Super adobe building, very nice, it's good vibes, feels nice to be in it. So when you blend together those two things, plasma and super adobe building, you're getting close to being in your little oasis, while maybe the rest of the world is feeling the pinch a lot more than you are. There you go. Thanks a lot. Bye. Uh-huh.
Love, 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 love.
Mm-hmm.
Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love.
All this is just one tomato plant. We give it a little plasma to drink each day, and it's producing tons of tomatoes for us. That's the same old tomato plant that we've had for months and months and months and months. What happened to your leg?
I fell.
And it hurts?
No,
How come?
because the gel.
The plasma gel? And it doesn't hurt anything?